Quran questions for Moorish American. 101 questions. Who made you? Allah. Who is Allah, Father of the universe? Can we see him? No, we cannot see Allah. What is your nationality? Moorish American. Why are we Moorish Americans? Because we are the descendants of Moroccans and born in America. What is your religion? Islamism. Is that a new or is that an old-time religion? It's an old-time religion. How old is your flag? Over 10,000 years old. Who is Jesus? He was a prophet of Allah. Where is he born? In Bethlehem of Judah, in the house of David. Who were his father and mother? Joseph and Mary. Will you give in brief the line through which Jesus came? So this is his genealogy. Some of the great fathers, patriarch, through which Jesus came are Abraham, Boaz by Ruth, so that's the first woman, a Moabite woman being mentioned, Jesse, King David, Solomon, Hezekiah, and Joseph by Mary. Second woman that's being mentioned. What was the nationality of Ruth? Ruth was a Moabitess. So we see here, Ruth, the womb that beget David, which means Jesus is a real human being, which means Ruth is a real human being, which means Abraham is a real human being. Not an analogy for something else, like some Moors like to lie about. Anyway, Ruth's nationality, meaning her bloodline, meaning she was a real person, was a Moabite woman, Moabitess. What is the modern name for the Moabites today? Moroccans. At what place on earth was the physical part of man formed? In the Garden of Eden. This is directly talking about Adam. Where is the Garden of Eden? In the land of Canaan, in the holy city of Mecca. What is the modern name for the Garden of Eden? Mecca. So where is the Garden of Eden? Mecca. And there's a hadith about how the hour will not come until Mecca returns to the garden that it used to be. What is the name? Oh, skip that. Let me see. Who were Adam and Eve? They are the mothers and fathers of the human family, Asiatic and Muslim. Where did they go? They went into Asia. What is the modern name given to their children? Asiatics. Who is guarding the holy city of Mecca to keep the unbelievers away? Angels. What is the modern name of these angels? Asiatic. What is the shade of their skin? Olive. Now, we already know olives, when they're not ripe, they're green. And then as they ripen, they turn light brown, then regular brown, then dark brown, and then to a deep, deep dark brown color that people call black, but it's not black. Are the Moorish Americans any relation to these angels? Yes, we have the same father and mother. Give 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve: Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. What is the devil sometimes called? The devil is sometimes called the lower self. How many selves are there? 2. Name them: higher self and lower self. What people represent the higher self? The angels who protect the holy city of Mecca. What people represent the lower self? Those who are cast out of the Holy Land and those who accept their teachings. Okay, so we see that right here, that the Moorish Americans are related to the people, the Asiatics. They're related to the Asiatics who are guarding the holy city of Mecca. So let's look at that. Let's look at that. Hold on, let me turn this light on. And we see that in the 101s, Noble Drew Ali said they have the same mother and father. So let's talk about the creation of man. Allah created man. The first man in the Garden of Eden, which is Mecca. That first man's name was Adam. This man was an empty vessel, just flesh. He was created in the image that he was in at the age of 33 years old. So he was created at 33. And then Allah, after he physically formed him, gave him his ruh, which in English is spirit. In the 101s, we say that man is not just the flesh. Spirit man is part of Allah, because this creation, this spirit, is from Allah. This is why the Quran also says time never was when man was not, because man is a thought of Allah, and Allah always was and always is and always will be. So from that perspective, we always existed, but physically we didn't. So Allah creates Adam. Adam is lonely. He creates Hawa, or Eve, his wife. They didn't have children. Amongst the descendants of Adam are Noah. Noah had 3 sons: Ham, Shem, and Canaan. Shem, or sometimes spelled Sem, is where you get the word Semitic or Semite. Oops. From Shem came Perez. From Perez came Terah. And from Terah came Abraham, or Ibrahim, and Haran. Excuse me, I gotta take a knee. Abraham's first son, through Hagar, who was an Egyptian woman, a descendant of Mizraim. So Hagar I'm thinking of Arabic, right to left. And from Abraham and Sarah came Isaac. Isaac had Jacob. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. Haran had Lot. Lot is the forefather of Moab. So when we see in the 101s where Noble Drew Ali asks to give us the genealogy by which Jesus came and how Abraham is mentioned, and then Boaz by Ruth, and Ruth was a Moabite, and then we're asked how are there any relations, and the answer is we have the same mother and father, that's Terah. That's our relation. When the angels came to Abraham, with glad tidings of another son, Isaac, Ishmael and Hagar were already in the valley of Mecca. Or the plains of Mecca, sometimes called Mesha. The word Mesha is sometimes used for the word plain, like the plains of Moab, Mesha. And then from that word, people have said they believe that's where the word Mecca came from. But just to be clear, there is the original spelling of Mecca in the Quran as Becca. Anyway, when the angels came to Abraham and gave glad tidings of Sarah having a son, Isaac, Lot was already in the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. They had already split, which means he may not have known, and Allah knows best, of Ishmael or Hagar, because they had split. So when Abraham received the divine inspiration from Allah, he lived in the city of Ur, of the Chaldeans. This is in Mesopotamia. I'm not sure if I spelled that right. Mesopotamia. That area, although this is a city, is also known as Babylon. 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 You get it. Probably spelled it wrong. When Abraham received his divine inspiration to worship the one true God, he told his father, Terah, to stop practicing idol worship and to stop creating idols with your own hands, selling it, and then thinking that's okay. During one of their religious holidays, everyone from the city left. Abraham said, I'm sick. Some narrations have translated that as he was sick of their pagan rituals and he didn't want to participate. Another narration is that he was just pretending to be sick so that way he can fulfill his plan. So everyone from the city of Ur in Mesopotamia went out of the city to celebrate their idol gods. Ibrahim, when everyone left the city, destroyed all of their idols except for one chief deity. When the people came back, they said, who destroyed all of our gods? And then one man from the city said, oh, I remember that Abraham kid giving us problems. So they said, Abraham, why did you destroy our gods? And Abraham said, why don't you ask him, your chief deity? And they responded, Abraham, you know our stone idol cannot hear us or see us or speak to us. Then he said, so why do you worship a God that does not hear you, that does not see you, and cannot speak to you? They got mad. They threw him. They had the plan to burn him. So they built a huge fire. There's narrations that the fire was so hot and so high that birds wouldn't even fly over it. Then, with their genius plan, they forgot to put Abraham in the fire. So they built a catapult to catapult Abraham into the fire. And as he was flying in the sky, the angel Jabril came to him and said, oh, Abraham, do you need anything? And Abraham said, if it's not from Allah, then no. Then Jabril came back and said, Abraham, I'm coming on behalf of Allah. Do you need anything? And he made a supplication to Allah. And Allah made the ropes around his wrist and the ropes around his feet burn off when he hit the fire, but the fire did not burn him. His nephew, Lut, Lam, Wa, Ta, Lut, seen this. His nephew, his brother Haran had a son, Lot, which is his nephew, Abraham's nephew, Lot, seen this. He's seen how everyone in the village, everyone in the city of Ur, threw Abraham into the fire. Everyone pitched into the fire. Abraham landed in the fire and he did not die. So Lut, who is mentioned in the Quran, which is the revealed word of God according to Prophet Noble Ali, Lut, our ancestor Lut, said, La ilaha illallah. There's nothing worthy of worship except for Allah. Then Abraham and Lot were told to flee Mesopotamia and go to the land of Canaan. When they got to the River Jordan, there were problems with their herdsmen. Abraham said to Lot, since we are kin, I don't want there to be any trouble with us. So you choose a portion of this holy land. And our forefather Lot chose the area known as the Dead Sea. That's where the city of Sodom and Gomorrah was, on the River Jordan, the eastern portion of the River Jordan. Abraham left that land to Lot. That's how Lot ended up in the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. So when references are made to Lot's people and the people of Lot, they're not physically his people. He was just sent to them by Allah as a prophet, along with his uncle Ibrahim, who was also a prophet. So while Lut is in the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, he's already there. They already split ways. The angels came to Abraham, gave him glad tidings of Isaac, and warned Abraham that they're going to destroy the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. Abraham said, hold on, my nephew Lot is there. The angel said, we know best who is there. We don't know the time frame of when this happened. Only Allah knows best. But I'm assuming that Lot did not know about Ishmael, did not know about Isaac, did not know about Hagar. Because they had already split at this point. When Ibrahim went into Egypt, and then the Pharaoh took his wife, Abraham said, act like you're my sister, so that way he doesn't harm you. The Pharaoh had a dream because Sarah made a supplication to Allah saying, do not allow this man to rape me. So Allah put the fear of harming this woman in Pharaoh's heart. And Pharaoh said, here, take Hagar with you, who was a noble woman of Egyptian origin. And a lot of the Hajj rituals are based off of her and what she did in the valley of Mecca with her son Ishmael as a test. Anyway, angels go to Lot as beautiful men to test the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot hosts them, tries to warn them about the evil ways of the people. The angels then testify to Lot that we're angels. We're going to destroy this city for what they're doing. So you need to leave. So he leaves. According to Jewish scholars, and according to, well, let me go back before I go to, according to what the Jewish scholars say. According to Islam, Ibrahim was told to send Hagar and Ishmael to the valley of Mecca, a wasteland. In Hagar's desperation to feed her child, she looked for water. And she ran between two mountains, seeking to find anything. And on her way back down, the angel Jibril tapped the ground with the tip of his wing, and out came a spring of water. And Hagar, who was an Egyptian woman, the descendant of Mizraim, in Egypt today is called Misr, right? Mizraim, Misr. She began to embank the water. Imagine there's water coming out, and you're trying to push sand up around it so that way you can hold it and contain it. As she was doing it, she was saying Zam, 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 meaning like stop or be contained. And this is where the river or the water, the Zamzam water, comes from in Mecca today, to this day. Mind you, Abraham's time was thought to be around 2000 BCE. That's the time where people believe Ibrahim was born. So that's the story of Zamzam water. There were birds that were circling around in the desert. And there were desert travelers who were traveling in this valley, and they seen these birds. And they said, the only time these birds are flying around is if there's water. So they went, right? So they went to this water, this area of water. They seen Hagar there with her son Ishmael, and they said, can we please dwell in this place with you? She said, so long as you recognize that this water belongs to me and my son, then you can. They agreed. And these travelers, according to some scholars, they believe that they're the ones that taught Ishmael Arabic. Now, I believe that the people that met Hagar and Ishmael there were Lot and Moab and whoever they fled with. Because according to Jewish scholars, Ishmael married 2 women from the tribe of Moab. And according to Arabic scholars, the Moabite language is the predecessor to Arabic. So if these travelers are responsible for teaching Ishmael Arabic, and Arabic is derived from the Moabite script, then I have reason to believe that it was our forefathers that met Ishmael and Hagar in the Valley of Mecca. And that's why in the Quran Questions for Moorish Americans, it clearly states that, and in the Quran, Circle 7 Quran, it clearly states that it was Moors that helped build the holy city of Mecca. Now, let's go back. Right, so we see who's guarding the holy city of Mecca to keep the unbelievers away? Angels. What is the modern name for these angels? Asiatic. What is their skin tone? Brown. Are the Moorish Americans any relation to these angels? Yes, we have the same mother and father, and that is Terah. Because the people in the Valley of Mecca claim to be descendants of Ishmael. In fact, Prophet Muhammad himself claimed to be a descendant of Ishmael through the tribe of Quraysh, and they're able to trace it. And then Prophet Muhammad said, be kind to the Egyptians because of our blood ties through our mother Hagar. We see that the descendants of Adam and Eve went into Asia, and their children are called Asiatics. We see that man was formed in the Garden of Eden, and that the Garden of Eden is in the city of Mecca. Now, there are narrations that the black cube, the black rock in the Kaaba, in the cube, is from the Garden of Eden. And there are some narrations that state when Adam, our forefather Adam, was cast out of the garden, he took a piece of that rock with him, and that rock is what Abraham and Ishmael used to help build the Kaaba. And that rock was originally white, but because of the sins of humanity, it turned black. So that is the story of that rock, which Noble Drew Ali is telling us in a way that is confirmed. Now he asks us, what is our religion? Islamism. What is that a new religion or is that an old time religion? That is an old time religion. Now the word Islam in English, Islam in English, so I'm going to write it in English. Islam in English. And we're speaking modern English, ME, which started in around the 14th century. Right? So circa, which means around. It's derived from the Arabic word. Let me see. How do I want to do this? Islam. Hold on, let me draw that better. Let me write that better, I should say. Islam. Aleph, Lam, Sin, Lam, Aleph, Mim. The root word of Islam is Sin, Lam, and Mim. This root word, Sin, Lam, and Mim, means to submit. So when Adam was created by Allah, he was created to submit to Allah. This is why Islam... Oh, my bad. I closed the thing and it's hard to open it one hand. This is why Islam plus the suffix ISM as a way of life, which means way of life, is an old religion because it existed with the creation of not only the first man, but the first thing that Allah created, which angels were created before man, the jinn were created before man, and their religion is to submit to Allah. So when the letter meme is attached to salam, M-S-L-M, it becomes Muslim. Muslim. There's no vowels in it. It's just M-S-L-M, Muslim. That has been translated into English as Muslim and Muslim. There's no letter O, there's no letter U, there's no letter E, and there's no letter I in Arabic. Up until the 20th century, so during the 1900s, the most used translation was Muslim. Now that more English speakers are learning Arabic, it's commonly used with a U and an I instead of an O and an E. So when Lot seen the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah and met the angels, there are narrations that Lot never stopped telling the story of Sodom and Gomorrah until he died. Which means there is a high chance that Moab heard that story. And if Moab heard that story, and if Moab heard the story of how his forefather Lot seen his great uncle or great uncle thrown into a fire and came out unscathed, then guess what was the religion of Moab? Submission to Allah. So this is how Islam, or submission to Allah, which makes us Muslimin, those who submit, is the first religion. In fact, what the claimed descendants of Judah, Jews, claim is that they submit to God. What the claimed followers of Christ, Christians, claim is that they're followers of God. They submit to God. So the first religion is to submit to God. So that is confirmed. Then we see in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, we see that, let's check out what we see. We see that the reasons these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine, look at Palestine today, matter of fact, look at Palestine throughout history, had these secrets and kept them back from the outside world. And when the time appointed by Allah, they loosened the keys and freed the secrets. And for the first time in ages have these secrets been delivered in the hands of the Muslims of America, all authority and rights of publishing of this pamphlet in 1927. Now, there is a man in the Quran after Noble Drew Ali. Let me see, actually. Moorish Science Temple of America. This is Library of Congress .gov. Quran. Let's look at it. So this is Noble Drew Ali, a picture of Noble Drew Ali. All right, has his name right there. And then on the next page, we have Sultan Abdul Aziz ibn Saud, who is the descendant of Hagar, now the head of the holy city of Mecca. He's the descendant of Hagar through Ishmael. So he's our cousin, right? He's the descendant of Hagar, now the head of the holy city of Mecca. He was a Wahhabi, a descendant of Wahhab from the house of Saudi, and the patriarch of the modern day 2023, modern day country of Saudi Arabia. This is from him, because his ancestors believed that they were the rightful rulers of the Najd and the Hijaz, which is all of Saudi Arabia today. He was recognized as the king in 1913. He was then recognized as the head of the holy city of Mecca in the first Islamic conference of November 1925. Now notice how this pamphlet wasn't published until 1927. Whereas this man, a Saudi, suggested that there be a Islamic conference. In fact, let's look this up. I actually have it in my book, Muslim versus Muslim. I think this book is dedicated to my daughter. Oh no, this is just the first print. But most of my first books are dedicated to my children through my trust anyway. Where's the first Islamic conference? There it is, November 2nd, 1925, page 72. It's hard to do this with one hand, but you get the point. Charter of the First Islamic Conference, 1925. Islamic World Conference. Ibn Saud contacted the Muslim powers to reach an agreement concerning the government of the Hijaz. In 1924, when he captured the Hijaz, King Ibn Saud declared that he would let the matter of government be determined by all Muslim countries. We have sent a telegram to all Muslim countries to send their delegates to the Islamic World Conference in Mecca. After Ibn Saud received the oath of the people of the Hijaz, proclaiming him the king of Hijaz and sultan of the Najd. Now look, descendant of Hagar, now the head of the holy city of Mecca. So Noble Jali recognized it, which means he was what? Invited. At this time, a supreme judge of the Egyptian court came to Jeddah, which means grandmother, where they believe Hawa or Eve is buried. At the end of the visit, a 7-point agreement, 7 points, 7-point agreement. A 7-point agreement. Hold on, my computer's slow. A 7-point agreement. A 7-point agreement, right? Right? These lessons were already known by the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine. And then a 7-point agreement was made concerning the status of the Hijaz, which would be discussed by the Islamic World Conference. The first contact of Egypt with Ibn Saud, as we mentioned, was when delegates from Egypt came as mediators between Ibn Saud and the Sharif. However, Ibn Saud refused this mediation and suggested that Egypt lead the call for the Islamic World Conference. Now, let's look this up. House Resolution 0689, Illinois. Let's look it up. Let's look it up. Let's look it up. Whereas on January 8th, Noble Drew Ali was born in the state of North Carolina, destined to become the first patriot of his mentally enslaved Moorish people. In 1912, he was anointed El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali by the leaders of Egypt in the holy city of Mecca to return to the United States as the last prophet and founding father of the newly risen nation of Moorish Americans. Now let's look up Sultan Abdul Aziz Ibn, means son, Ibn Saud. Let's look him up. Abdul Aziz Ibn Abdul Rahman Al Saud, known in the West as Ibn Saud, was an Arab political and religious leader who founded Saudi Arabia, the third Saudi state, and reigned as its first king from September 23rd, 1932 until his death in 1953. He ruled parts of the kingdom since 1902, having previously been Emir, Sultan, and King of Najd and King of Hijaz. Now, let's see. However, in February 1905, Ibn Saud was named Qima, I'm not sure what that word is, of southern Najd by the Ottomans, which he held until 1913. There was other. It used to be on Wikipedia at least. Other things. Look right here. Ibn Saud completed his conquest of the Najd and the eastern coast of Arabia in 1912. So we see these times and dates are linking up with the time and existence of Noble Drew Ali. Get this book. The brother Sean De Niro, Fez dealer on Instagram, sent me this book when I was in jail. Get it. Put it back. There we go. All right. So we see the connections. We absolutely see the connections here. That's why I wrote the book. riseofthemoors.org. Now, let's go into the divine origins of the Asiatic nation. The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America need to learn to love instead of hate and know their higher self and lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for teaching and instructing all Moorish Americans. So we're supposed to teach from the Holy Quran of Mecca, the same book that this man used. The key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations, the Moors, who were ancient Moabites, and the founders of the holy city of Mecca. Now, I told you that according to certain Jewish scholars, Ishmael married a Moabite woman. Now, one second while I find the book. I have it in my Moorish lexicon. This is the Moorish lexicon, homeschool lessons for Moorish Americans. riseofthemoors.org. I have it in here. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Page 41. Page 41. Jewish sources. Psalms 83:7 lists Moab between the Ishmaelites and Hagarites. The latter, again, were probably related to or descended from the Ishmaelites. This guy, Prike de Rabbi Eliezer, states that Ishmael married a Moabite woman named Aisha and then divorced her because she failed to host Abraham properly. And then he married a woman from the same tribe, which means another Moabite woman. This is from Jewish scholars, right? Chapters of Rabbi Eliezer the Great, according to the text of the manuscripts belonging to Abraham Epstein of Vienna, 1871 to 1923. Ishmael sent for a wife from among the daughters of Moab, and Aisha was her name. Let me see. Well, this is the Mesha, remember? Mecca. The Mesha Phoenician or Moabite script. And some of the names, right? So the Moabite language, sometimes referred to as the Phoenician Moabite, is linguistically related to the Arabic and Hebrew. In fact, some of the letters have the same or similar names, such as Aleph, Wa, Zain, Kaf, Mim, Nun, Ain, and Sin. And here are the connections. The Arabic language will lead us to ancient Egypt and Hazm. The medieval Arabic scholar of Cordova recognized the Aramaic/Syrian, Hebrew, and Arabic were kindred dialects derived from the Mudar, the dialect in which the Quran had been disclosed. The original home of the Arabic of the Quran came from the northwestern region of the Arabian Peninsula. These three kindred dialects originated from the Moab region, which was under the control of ancient Egypt. So now let's look. Let's see if we can Google it real fast. Ishmael taught Arabic. Let's see if we can find that really fast. The Mustarib were described as Arabized, since it was believed Ishmael learned Arabic when he moved to Mecca and married into the Arabic tribe of Jurhum, which they had to be Moabites. Remember, I just showed you the Jewish scholar said Ishmael married a Moabite woman. So this Jurhum tribe has to be descendants of Moab. And they spoke Arabic. It was the Moors. I just showed you the script. I mean, there's more to the book, obviously. I'm not going to show you the whole book. Scripts found in the Moabi region look exactly like ancient Egyptian Demotic style of writing. The Egyptians were the only people in the Moabi region who had an available writing surface, papyrus. The Quranic Arabic language tried to look different from its ancient Egyptian Semitic source by rearranging the order of the Abd alphabet to a A, B, T, or Aleph, Ba, Ta, Tha. I don't know what that's supposed to be, because the next letter is Jim, Ha, and Kha, which caused them more problems. Other Semitic languages like Hebrew maintain the same order of the alphabet. The Moabite region was also the source of the Arabic, Hebrew, and Aramaic dialects, which were offshoots of the ancient Egyptian language. Now, what do they call the Medu Neter? The word or language of God. What do they call the Quran? The word of God. The Arabic language, its role in history, recognizing that Syriac or Syrian, Hebrew, and the Mudar Arabic are variants of the same language, and that the Syriac or Syrian may have precedent in that it was spoken by Abraham. Next came Arabic, the language of Ishmael, and then Hebrew, the language of Isaac. Ishmael, Isaac, Abraham. Moab, from the Moabi region, who spoke what? Arabic. And what language did Esau or Jesus speak? Aramaic. Right? Let's look that up. Language of Jesus. Language of Jesus. Aramaic. Okay. Aramaic. Word for God. Look, it's already there. Allah. Allah. As mentioned before, the original home of Arabic, the Arabic of the Quran, and of literature may be traced to the northwestern region of the Arabian Peninsula. The northern region is regarded as home of the Mudar language, the forerunner of Arabic, and the southern region is considered the locus of the Himyarite language spoken by the Yemenites and their neighbors. This division became more pronounced after the rise and expansion of Islam, when the Mudar language was accorded supreme attributes and superior qualities. Such views were rationalized by pointing to the fact that the Quran was revealed in one of the Mudar dialects, the dialect of the Quraysh tribe. Arabic, as taught by the Moors. Let me see. Golden Age of the Moab by Ivan van Sertima. It is significant to note that the term Moabitrium, is frequently used in medieval era European writers to describe the Moorish inhabitants of northwest Africa or Mauritania. Those who are familiar with the Quran and the Bible would recognize the reference Moab/Moabite. The descendants of Moab, the Moabites, were an ancient people who occupied a significant portion of Palestine. So when they're saying that the language of Arabic originated in the northern region of the Arabian Peninsula, the northwest region, that's the land of Moab. That's Palestine and Jordan today. Book reference, the Moorish Lexicon. These are the two books I've been referencing. And then I learned Arabic with this book. And these books, there's 3 of them. These books. So when we read what Noble Drew Ali is saying, there's a host of history that we have to know. The Egyptians, who were the Hammatites and the direct descendant of Mizraim. Now, when you look at the Arabic spelling of Egypt, it's Misr. No, not Egyptian, Arabic. Just the word Egyptian. Misr. Mim. Sad. Ra. Misr. This is the Arabic spelling of Egypt. So when we see when Noble Drew Ali says the Egyptians are the descendants of Mizraim, we see that as true. The Arabians are the seed of Hagar, Ishmael. Ishmael was taught Arabic through descendants of Moab. They're called Arabs today. We see this to be true. The Hindus of India, the descendants of the ancient Canaanites, Hittites, and Moabites of the land of Canaan. The Asiatic nations of North, South, and Central America, the Moorish Americans and Mexicans of North America, Brazilians, Argentinians, and Chileans in South America, Colombians, Nicaraguans, and natives of San Salvador and Central America, all of these are Muslims. The Turks are the true descendants of Hagar, who are the chief protectors of the Islamic creed of Mecca. Beginning from Muhammad I, founder of the uniting of Islam, by the command of the great universal God, Allah. Jesus himself was the true blood of the ancient Canaanites and Moabites, inhabitants of Africa. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa, they were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire. Now, remind you, I just showed you the source where Egypt controlled the Moabi region. And after the death of Moses, Joshua came in charge, and Allah commanded them to slaughter everyone in the land of Canaan except the descendants of Moab, because of the promise that Lot was given for a portion of the Holy Land of Canaan when he split with Abraham after he professed that La ilaha illallah, after he seen Abraham thrown into a fire and not burned. So in Genesis, you see that. You see that. So during that time of Joshua, after Moses died and was buried in the land of Moab, he did not cross the river Jordan. Joshua crossed the river Jordan and began to kill a lot of people, except the Moabites. Some Moabites left. Other Moabites stayed. Then we have again the people from Babylon, the Persians, waged war with tried to seize control over the Syrian Empire, which was also in unison with Egypt around the 6th century BC. When the Moabites became a vassal of the Persian Empire, which remember, this is Mesopotamia we're talking about, Babylon, where they're known for their idol worship. The Moabites decided to plot against the Persians. And I talk about this in the book. And since they planned to plot against the Persians, the Moabites were erased from history, and they were forced to assimilate into Persian culture and adopt the gods of Persia. That is where you get the modern day Moors were erased from history after the Persians conquered them. But during that time, it is documented that Moors from the Moabi region, from the kingdom of Moab, fled into Egypt and fled west. In fact, the Libyans, who are called the Lebu, are a known tribe of Moors. And they participated in many wars against the Romans, as an example. When you look at the Hannibal Barca and his father, Hashrabal, or I can't remember his name, the Barca family, when they waged war with Rome, it is known that Moors participated in that. This is BC times. So this is known. But this is how deep the 101s of Noble Drew Ali is. It's not just, it's an old-time religion and that's it. Oh, Islamism and then that's it. Oh, we're related to these people because we have the same mother and father and that's it. Oh, Ruth is a Moabite and that's it. Oh, Moroccans is the modern name for Moors and that's it. It's all of this and more, right? And then, of course, as I went over before in one of my other videos, the word Morocco, which is English translation, is derived from Marrakesh. Marrakesh, which I'm going to go to the transliteration, then the translation, is literally M-R-A-K-S-H. That's where Morocco is derived from. The city of Marrakesh. It's sometimes translated as Marrakesh. Sometimes it's an A. Vowels are interchangeable in English. As you can see, there's only one vowel in the word in Arabic. That's where the word Morocco is derived from. This is the root word, MR. And in Egyptian texts, you'll see Moors have posted this a lot. The word Moor is MR in Egyptian. And I just went over how, again, the Mudar language, which is Arabic, which is Demotic Egyptian, hieroglyphics, same thing. Moor. If you want to know more in Arab or Moab in Arabic, this is what it looks like. Mim, Wa, Aleph, Ba, Moab. So when you see our prophet telling us the modern name for Moabites and Moroccans, again, you have something that's known as Betacism. So you'll also have Moab or Moavi with a V, a B and a V. And look at the consonant sound and language chart, you'll see B and V are interchangeable. You also see Ab in Arabic, as in like Ibn means son. Well, Ab means father. But Ibn means like descendant of or son of so-and-so, which also means blank is my father. So Abdul Aziz Ibn Saud, his father is Saud, which means he's the son of Saud, which means he is from Saud. And this is why you'll see like Beni, Ishmael, or Beni, meaning like children or sons of. Anyway, I think that's it. I covered a lot. I went over Joshua, right, in the 2 migrations of Moors west, and how, let's see, what else am I missing? I think I covered everything I wanted to cover today. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.